Have you ever wondered how the food that we eat gets converted into energy? Well, there's this one molecular machine called the Pyruvate Dehydrogenase complex, or PDC for short. Let's dive on into that.
When we eat sugar, the glucose is broken down into this molecule called pyruvate in a process called glycolysis. This pyruvate then makes its way into the citric acid cycle, where even more energy can be yielded. The molecular unit of energy is called ATP. First, glucose must go through the PDC. Like any other machine, there are on and off switches. In the case of the PDC, these switches are a group called phosphate. Phosphate is added by an enzyme called a kinase and is removed by an enzyme called a phosphatase. Adding the phosphate group turns off the PDC and halts the production of acetyl, and thus ATP. Removing the phosphate turns the PDC back on. This is like when a beaver builds a dam. The beaver is like a kinase, and the phosphate blocks the stream. Phosphatase removes the phosphate, or the dam, so the energy can flow downstream. The PDC has three components. The first component is called pyruvate dehydrogenase, or E1. Here, the carboxyl group of the pyruvate will be removed, creating a group called acetyl. This acetyl group then moves on to the next component called dihydrolipoamide acetyltransferase, or E2. This is where a coenzyme, called coenzyme A, is attached to the acetyl group. Acetyl-CoA is the start of the citric acid cycle. The last component is called dihydrolipoamide dehydrogenase, or E3. E3 is responsible for resetting the PDC cycle so another pyruvate molecule can turn into acetyl-CoA. No machine is perfect. Even in our bodies, molecular machines can malfunction. When the PDC malfunctions, there are a host of problems. A PDC that is working harder than normal can lead to cancer. Cells require energy to grow, and if a lot of energy is produced, cells will grow at an uncontrollable rate. If the PDC isn't working properly, glucose is broken down in a separate pathway, which leads to lactic acid buildup, the reason for sore muscles. Actually, this lactic acid can be converted back into glucose in a separate pathway. The buildup of glucose can lead to health issues such as diabetes and obesity.
So the next time you eat your favorite food, thank the PDC that food gets converted into actual useful energy.